Welcome to the Teacher Interview Podcast. We're your hosts, Keylie, Harville,
Madison, Saturley,
and today we are here with Nathaniel Provencio.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys, Keylie and Madison.
Good to see you too. So, welcome to this podcast. We're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
So,
how have you been?
Great.
That's good.
So I'm here. I'm visiting and working with all the different schools in Hardin County, all the elementary schools, the middle school, the high school. And one of the things that I do as a job is that I have my own consulting business, educational leadership consulting. So I was a teacher for a long time. I was a principal, and I was assistant principal, and a superintendent. And one of the things that I do now is that I travel around schools across the country, and I work with teachers, I work with principals, I work with teams, just to do what I can to kind of help everyone do the best they can for kids. And so I have this wonderful opportunity to be able to see schools in almost every state in the country. So I learn a lot. I get to do a lot of really cool things. I get to meet cool kids like you guys, and just try to come back and just help our schools improve just a little bit better every day. So that's what I do.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And I'm from here.
You're from here?
I'm from here. I grew up here. I went to this middle school. I went to Paris South. I went to the high school. So it's a really, really cool thing to be able to give back to the community where you were raised. It's a pretty awesome, unique experience.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite place that you've been to?
Wow. Every place is great, right? Every place has something a little bit unique about it. And so I always try to see the best in all the places. But probably the coolest place that I've been to, I spent a month in China.
Oh, wow.
And that was just really, really cool. Now, this was pre-COVID, right? And it was on a diplomatic educational trip. And so I worked with a university to go to China, and we were sharing some insights about American schools, and they were sharing their insights on Chinese schools, and we were learning from each other. And we got a chance to spend a week in Beijing, which is the capital, Shanghai, and a city called Xi'an. And so we got to see like the Terracotta Warriors. We got to see the Great Wall of China, eat amazing food, and it was just a really cool experience to be a part of. And that was pretty neat. And we got almost a month there in China. I've been to Brazil. My wife is from Brazil, so we were able to spend some time there. That's a really unique place. But my most favorite place is my house in Northern Virginia. Spending time I live on a lake and got a little boat, and I travel so much. Sometimes it's just, there's no place like home, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
my dad travels a lot.
Yeah, and so I bet when he's home, he is glad to be home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he works
absolutely.
with a lot of guys.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, but traveling's cool. Traveling's awesome. I grew up here, and so for a long time, Savannah was the only world I knew. And so being able to see different cultures and eat different foods and experience different ways of life, it really helps you become a well-rounded human being. And if anyone listening to this, I mean, if you have an opportunity to travel, especially when you're young, do it. It's the best experience you'll ever have.
Yeah, I love to travel. That's something that I've always been fond about.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a big world. Got to see it.
Yeah. What is something somebody would be surprised about that you didn't know, or that they didn't tell, that you didn't tell them?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was, so I've been an educator for about 25 years, but I wasn't always the best student. So that might be something that would be surprising to people. Sometimes people think that your teachers were probably the best students in the world. I was not. Like, I struggled in school. I was a little bit of a troublemaker, you know. I was always like an anti-rule kid. Like, if you told me to go left, I would just go right just because I wanted to do that. So I always trying to like break the rules and stuff. And so it's funny because I'm sort of the same way now, you know, like I like to be creative. I like to innovate. I like to bend the rules and try to be as creative as I can, because sometimes the things that make us who we are as kids is what makes us awesome as adults. I was diagnosed with something called ADHD when I was a kid. attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So I had a hard time concentrating on things that I didn't like. But when there were things that I did like, I was super focused, hyper focused on those things that I liked. So I loved music, I loved sports, but I didn't like just sitting in a seat and listening to a teacher for 45 minutes. I like to be active and doing those things. And that's kind of the same way I am now. I like hands-on learning. I like looking at creative ways to approach things. So even though, like, if there's kids listening, sometimes the things that makes us struggle as kids ends up helping us have superpowers when we're adults. So that might be something that people probably don't know about me, that I kind of struggled in a traditional sense as a kid, but it helped me be the best adult that I could be.
Yeah. So have you taught any grades?
Yes, I was a third grade teacher for 6 years. But my very first job, believe it or not, was right here at this school.
Oh, wow.
My very first job, I was a substitute teacher in, I think it was like the detention room.
An ISS?
Yeah. Do you still have ISS here?
Yes.
Have you been there, Keylie?
No.
What about you, Mackenzie? Have you been in ISS? It's great. It's a great place, right? So anyway, yeah. So that was my very first job. I was a substitute teacher in an ISS, in the ISS room here for like a couple weeks. And then when I graduated from the University of North Alabama, and then I wanted to work. So I moved to Northern Virginia, where I was a third grade teacher, and I was a third grade teacher for 6 years. And then I became an assistant principal for 3 years. And then I was a principal for 9 years, a superintendent for 3 years. And then after COVID, that's when I decided to change roles and become an educational consultant.
Yeah, that's cool. My mom used to sub. She quit sometime around at the beginning of school last year. So she's working with my dad now.
Awesome. Very good. So. And he travels.
Yeah.
Very
good.
My
mom doesn't travel with him.
Gotcha.
Because he travels with his workers.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Good questions.
Yeah.
Have you always wanted to be in the education?
No. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a transformer.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to be either a G.I. Joe or a Transformer, but I didn't know if that was realistic. So, yeah, I didn't really know when I was a kid, like, once I started, like, figuring out what I wanted to do, the concept of college was very abstract for me. Like, no one in my family had ever gone to college, and I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And so then I was thinking about maybe being a post office worker, or maybe I worked at Walmart for a little bit, but like college just seemed so like another universe for me. And, but I had some good people around me, and I had some people that said, Nathaniel, you could probably go into college. And so I was like, well, all right, what's it going to hurt? All they're going to tell me is no, that I can't get in. I didn't have like a 4.0 or anything like that. I just wanted to just graduate.
Yeah.
And then I had some people who were like, you know what, but you're a smart kid. You're very creative. You can do some things. And here's what happened. In high school, in order to get out of class, I joined a group called Future Teachers of America. It was called FTA. And I was just like, yeah, this is cool. I'll just get out of class to go to this club, right? I was one of those kids that signed up for every club possible just to get out of class. And that was me. Mm-hmm. But I loved Future Teachers of America. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. How do I become a teacher? And we got to work with kids. And it's like, I kind of like working with kids. I'm kind of resonating a little bit. And then my guidance counselors gave me the application to go to college and go to the University of North Alabama. I filled out the application, and I got accepted. And I was like, oh, great. Now what? So then I got accepted, and I struggled in college. It was challenging. But I was like, you know what, but I want to be a teacher. So I'm not going to quit on this, and I'm not going to give up. And lo and behold, I became an educator. So it was great. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
We were actually just talking about college earlier.
Yeah? What were you talking about?
We were just talking about how it's like a lot different than what we've been doing now, like middle school and elementary school.
College is amazing.
I've been considering the University of Alabama, too.
Yeah. Well, I went to North Alabama. I don't know about Roll Tide, but I went to North Alabama, right? But here's what I loved about college, and no one in my family had ever gone to college before. So I was literally the first in my family to go to college.
parents didn't go to college.
Yeah, so you could be the first in your family to go to college. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? And I remember when I went to college, I was like, this is amazing. Every kid is here for the right reasons. Every kid wants to be here. I've got this freedom. I can learn at my own pace. I still have to work hard. Like, there's a lot of hard work. But I just remember I just thought it was like heaven. Like, college for me was just like utopia. It was wonderful. And, and I struggled in college. There's some hard things. But I got good tutors. I surrounded myself with good people. That's important. Surround yourself with the right people, because there's a lot of nincompoops out there that'll take you around the wrong path. It's all about who you hang around with. My mom used to say that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. So if you hang around with 5 bozos, you're going to be a bozo. If you hang around with 5 awesome kids, you're going to be an awesome kid. So in college, because you have this freedom and you don't have your parents around telling you what to do, you have to be disciplined to stay around good people so that you can be a good person. And that was something that I learned.
So did you live on campus?
I commuted back and forth. I couldn't afford to live on campus. So I worked at Walmart at night, pushing carts, stocking shelves, cleaning bathrooms. And then I would drive to the University of North Alabama in the morning. I would do my classes, try to do my homework, and then I would drive back and forth from Florence to Savannah. And I did that for 5 years.
That's cool.
So a lot of hard work. Had to make a lot of sacrifices to do that, but it was cool. It was great.
What's your favorite thing about teaching?
My favorite thing about teaching was being able to take a group of kids and build relationships with them and have them be able to see you as someone who has made an impact in their lives, right? And now, I haven't been teaching for over 20 years, but in my community where I live, all the time I run into former students that I had. And they're old now, you know what I mean? Like, I'm old, they're old, we're all old together. And they'll say, Mr. Provencio, they were like, do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I remember you. I may not remember their names, but I remember them. And they always will say, you were the best teacher I ever had, and that you made a difference with me. And I was like, man, that's like the greatest compliment ever, right? Because as human beings, we have an opportunity to make an impact in other human beings' lives. And that's what's great about teaching, is that because of us, we're placed in a position to make a difference in the lives of not only our kids, the kids that we teach, but our community as well. And that's also why I wanted to go into administration, to be a principal, is I could impact even more kids' lives and more families and more communities. And that's why I'm still doing this work. I'm still a teacher, right? I just do it in a different way. So that's all. The relationships are always the best thing about education.
So what is something you would tell a student that is going through a hard time?
Oh, it gets so much better. It gets so much better. And even though right now sucks, right now it just seems like it's a disaster, all of this stuff won't matter in 5 years. Everything's going to be better. Like, the storms pass, everything is going to be okay. And if you can just have a goal, right? And so oftentimes kids don't have goals. You sound like you've got a goal, Keylie. You want to go to college, right?
Well, I'm debating if
there's no debate. You're going to go to college. That's your goal. It's not a debate. You're going to go to college, right? That's your goal. You write that down somewhere. Write it on your mirror, put it on a Post-it note, say, I'm going to go to the University of North Alabama, or I'm going to go to Alabama. You write that down. And every day you feel like you're getting, it's just a troubled day, or if you feel challenged, or if you feel like, friends are going crazy and all this stuff, go back to your goal and think about all the little things that you have to do to get that goal. So kids that are having a hard time, sometimes they get very frustrated because they don't know what the end is going to happen for them. They don't know what that goal is. And if you don't have a goal, you're kind of just wandering around aimlessly, right? Yeah. So have a goal, write it down somewhere. I'm 45. In my office, I have a goal. I have all of my personal goals that I want to do. And every day when I come home, I have it on my phone. I look at my goals. I see what I need to do today to meet those goals. I had a goal to write a children's book. I thought I would never write a children's book, right? So I was like, and every day I would look at my goal. I'm going to be a children's book author. It took me 5 years to become a children's book author. but I finished my goal. I was able to do that. Now I got another goal, right, to write another book and to keep on doing some things. But if you don't write them down, sometimes things aren't going to happen.
What's the name of your book?
It's called it's called Pablo's Big Dream, and it's about 3 cats that live in the Amazon rainforest, and they have to like work together and do some teamwork to accomplish a goal. So my book is on goals, and that was one of the things that I had a goal too. So, do you have a goal?
I actually want to go to college too.
Which college?
Vanderbilt.
That's a really good school. Make sure, they don't accept everybody now, so you work really hard to run that goal. You write University of Vanderbilt. You start wearing black and gold. Start Commodore, right? You know what I mean? Start writing little V's on everything, right? And you'll start getting to that goal. That's a great university to get into.
Where can people find your book?
So I've got 2 books. I've got a couple books. You can go on Amazon and just put in, Pablo's Big Dream, and put my name, Nathaniel Provencio. You can find the children's book, and so it's on Amazon. And then I have another book. It's more of a professional book. It's called Community Connections in Your PLC at Work. It's about family engagement and how school leaders can work with their families in their community to help with schools. So those are 2 books that I have. And you can just go on Amazon and get them.
That's cool. So what would you be doing right now if you wasn't doing what you're doing?
As far as job goes,
Yes.
if I could do anything, I would be a rock and roll drummer. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't everybody want to be a rock and roll drummer? So I played music a lot too, and so I loved music. That's something else a lot of people don't know about me. And probably if I wasn't doing this kind of educational work, I'd probably be playing music somewhere. I loved it. I love playing music. It was always something that I did to help me out with.
I was in the band last year, and in 6th grade, but it just really wasn't my thing.
Wasn't your thing? Yeah. No, it's cool, but I bet you like music, right? Who's your favorite artist?
Probably The Weeknd.
The Weeknd. All right. Yeah. I really like the Foo Fighters. That's one of the bands that I really like. I like rock and roll. My son loves Travis Scott. I think he's overrated. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't really listen to Travis Scott. I listen to Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, yeah, she's got some bangers. She's got some good things, right?
They was talking about it in class, and they was thinking that she was a little overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, she can be sometimes, but she's really good at singing.
I tell you who's underrated is Billie Eilish.
Yes.
She is underrated.
She's underrated. She's legit. I like me some Billie Eilish.
She's a really good singer.
There you go.
She has that one song in the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Which is a great movie. You guys got time for one more question. So what do you got?
Have you met anyone famous, and if so, who were they?
Yeah. Well, I met you guys today. You guys are famous, so that was really cool. Famous people. I met. This is going to be random. Okay, so just bear with me. I don't get starstruck for people because they're just human beings just trying to do their thing. But there was this one time I was in England, and I was in the airport. I was in Heathrow Airport in England, and I noticed someone. We were standing in line to go to get tickets or luggage or something. I don't know, but there was a gentleman that was standing in front of me, and the guy you ever just see someone that just looks so familiar?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I didn't want to be creepy, but I was like, God, this guy looks so familiar in front of me. Like, well, I've seen this guy from somewhere, and I kind of positioned myself so I can kind of look to see who the guy was in front of me, and it turned out he was the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I'm a drummer, right? And so I recognized, it's like, this is Chad Smith. This is the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I noticed that he was eating popcorn or something, right? And I was like, do I say something to him? Do I not say something to him? So I was like, I'm going to say something to him. So I said, excuse me, sir. It's like, hey, I hate to interrupt you. And but you're Chad Smith, right? The drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he looked at me, and as he was eating his popcorn, he was like, yeah, I'm Chad from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's cool, man. It's really good to see you. I'm a really big fan. I absolutely love you. And he looked at me and he said, you know what I love? And I'm waiting for him to say something really, really awesome. He said, this popcorn. And that was it. That's the story. That's why I was like, okay, all right, cool. I could tell he definitely didn't chat with me, but that was my big run-in with someone, quote unquote, famous. So they're just people. They're just doing their thing. So.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving us the time of day.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, guys. Keep doing your thing. Vanderbilt, right it on. University of North Alabama, first in your family, young lady to go to college. That's going to be awesome. All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you.
You too.